So we're live.
Yep, we're live now.
All right, cool. Well, I guess I'll do the intro.
Hit it.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Podcast that entertains, informs, and helps you win. As always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Alex and Luke. Alex, how are you doing on this beautiful morning?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm having kind of a bad hair day though. That's why I'm wearing a hat. But otherwise pretty good. How about you, Luke?
You still look handsome nonetheless, Alex. I'm doing good. I had to get up early this morning to go get COVID tested all the way across campus, but I'm chilling. We got here a little late today, but it's all good. I'm really excited to talk about some trades and stuff like that today. It should be a good show. It's our first live show. If you're watching this
Yeah.
on the live, thank you for joining us. But if you're watching this on the replay, thank you for listening or watching wherever you're doing it. But it should be fun. Hopefully, we get some people in the chat today. Maybe ask some questions. Should be interesting.
Indeed, and before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to Monkey Knife Fight. Monkey Knife Fight is a DFS website that features fantasy games for sports such as the NFL, NHL, NASCAR. That's right, boys, I said NASCAR, and much more. You can even play DFS for esports. So what are you waiting for? Go on monkeyknifefight.com and use promo code 3CO to double your initial deposit up to $50. Go make some MKFing money on NASCAR.
Nice.
On NASCAR.
I love NASCAR. Anyways, guys, there's been quite a few things happening around the league lately. The biggest one is the Sam Darnold trade. Luke, why don't we start with you? What do you think about the Sam Darnold trade and the ramifications of it?
Sure. So for the Sam Darnold trade, I thought it was a pretty good deal for both sides, honestly. I thought the Jets got a decent return for Sam Darnold. I think it's still kind of weird how cheap quarterbacks are right now. I feel like a few years ago, Sam Darnold probably would have gone for a first-round pick or more, just because he's a young, pretty decently talented quarterback who could still develop into something greater. But he went for a second, a fourth, and a sixth. I believe it was a sixth this year and a second and a fourth next year or something like that, or like a second and a sixth next year. Pretty decent haul. Kind of interesting how it's spread out throughout 2 seasons. I think it's kind of a dub for the Panthers, honestly. Like I said, it was a bit of a win-win for both sides, but I like it a lot for the Panthers because they don't have to trade the farm to like move up to get a quarterback, because they're kind of in a spot to get one if they wanted one in the draft, but not really. So it kind of secures their spot right now to get a quarterback. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for watching, dude. I love you. Anyway, but so Sam Darnold, I think he could still be really good. I think Joe Brady has a lot of potential to be able to turn him around and really let him succeed. He has good weapons there. I mean, Robbie Anderson and him already have a good rapport. DJ Moore is really solid, and then Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield. This should be a pretty interesting offense to watch. And I mean, if you're the Jets, I mean, the Jets are happy. I bet. I mean, you moved now your backup quarterback for a second, fourth, and sixth round draft pick when you're a rebuilding team. I mean, all those picks are very valuable. They can even use those additional fourth and sixth to like trade up into earlier rounds if they want. So I like it for both sides a lot. We'll get into like winners and losers in a second, but I really like the deal. So with that being said, Alex, how are you feeling about the deal? Like, what do you think about Sam Darnold's outlook going forward and all that jazz?
Yeah, I think it's a good deal for the Panthers getting a quarterback who has the upside that Sam Darnold still has at only 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a win for them. Like they could have easily moved up to number 4 and taken whoever doesn't get picked by then and try to make that work. But Sam Darnold, he has some experience. His last season was not great for him. It really did take a little bit of the shine off of him. And I think that's why he wasn't traded for a first round pick. The Jets kind of made it apparent that they were not interested in keeping him around. Like it was the worst kept secret in the NFL that Sam Darnold was not going to be on the Jets this year. And yeah, like I'm happy for him. I'm happy he gets another chance. Sam Darnold, Hall of Fame since we traded him. Yeah, probably. I kind of hope so. I would like to see the Jets suffer.
Yeah, Kevin, you're working with two Patriots fans here. You're not going to get any remorse from them. They want to see you burned to the ground.
I would love that. But yeah, like Sam Darnold, when he was coming out of USC, people were hyping him up as like a generational prospect at one point. Like there were people who were like talking about him as the next Matt Stafford. And I mean, the Panthers were allegedly trying to get Matt Stafford before he got traded to the Rams. So they kind of, if this guy is the next Matt Stafford, they got him for a pretty good price. And this trade really made me happy for the Patriots because we're trying to move up for a quarterback allegedly. And this takes the Panthers off the market for one for now. So I'm really praying that this comes to fruition for us. And Angel.
Who do you want, Alex, if they trade up?
Well, I mean, I saw a rumor today that Mac Jones, according to Adam Schefter, Mac Jones is going to be the pick at number 3 for the 49ers.
Oh, wow. Really? I didn't see that. That's crazy.
Wow. I did not see that.
Let me see if I can find that tweet.
So if that happens, I would love Justin Fields. I think it's worth moving up to number 4 to get Justin Fields because he's that good. I'm happy with Trey Lance too. I don't know how happy I'd be to move up all the way to 4 to get Trey Lance because he's not going to play this year, first of all, because he's not ready. But Justin Fields, that would really make my year. I'd get a Justin Fields jersey. Like, I don't buy Patriots jerseys, but I'd get a Justin Fields jersey.
Dude, Justin Fields is... I think the thought of Justin Fields dropping to 4 overall is kind of crazy. I mean, I think he's a lot of people's QB2. So it's kind of weird that he would drop all the way to QB4. But that's not my opinion. Well, it is my opinion, but like it's not my job to make that decision. So, Angel, how you feeling about things?
Yeah, so before I get into the Sam Darnold stuff, if Justin Fields falls number 4, I will also be buying that Justin Fields jersey. We'll show up on the first stock after it happens, on the first show after it happens, wearing Fields merch. It's gonna happen. Kevin just said that he doesn't think he's that great though. Interesting. I think he's pretty solid. And I also think the trade the Jets and the Panthers was really, really solid for both teams. In terms of organizations, there's no loser there. The Jets got some value back for a pick that they completely butchered. Poor Sam Darnold being in that system for more than 3 years, was it? Ugh, what a waste of talent. But now he gets to spread his wings in Carolina with a really good set of weapons. Christian McCaffrey should take the load off him. DJ Moore. I'm not sure if they're going to put him back in the slot now that Curtis Samuel's gone. My guess would be they'll probably put Robbie Anderson there, which is really good for his fantasy value, and we'll talk about that later. But it just seems like a win-win for both sides. And speaking of fantasy value, do you guys want to talk about some winners and losers from the trade, maybe from a fantasy perspective, maybe not?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's get it.
Alex, what do you think?
I mean, Sam Darnold, clearly a winner. He gets to presumably start for another team with a better offense and a better offensive coordinator and a better head coach, probably, because I like Matt Rule. I mean, Robert Saleh.
There's no probably. It's Adam Gase.
Well, Adam Gase is gone. Robert Saleh is the new guy for the Jets. He could be good, but I like Matt Rule better. I mean, I liked what I saw from the Panthers last year. They were pretty feisty. People thought they were going to be like a bottom 5 team, and they were a bottom 8 team. Like they did better than
that's improvement.
Yeah,
improvement.
And yeah, like Sam Darnold, maybe he figures it out. Maybe he's a Hall of Famer. Maybe he's a Pro Bowler. Maybe he's a capable starter. I mean, the bar's pretty low at this point. He was really bad last year.
Yeah, he was pretty bad.
So I think it does seem like there's no competition between him and Bridgewater. Like, it's pretty apparent that Darnold's the guy, which is interesting because when Darnold got drafted by the Jets, Bridgewater was the presumed bridge starter because they brought him in as a free agent and then they traded him in the preseason to the Saints. So it's rehashing that narrative.
Really? Bridgewater was on the Jets at some point? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was 2018. They signed him to a 1-year deal and they traded him before the end of the preseason.
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
well, you know.
Yeah. Then, okay. So, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were done.
I'm just gonna transition to my loser here.
Oh, my bad. I forgot about that for some reason.
It's all good. Zach Wilson. Sorry, buddy. Like you're gonna be a Jet. I'm really I feel bad for you. The Jets not to drag the Jets even more than I have, but like they're not a good team right now. They don't have a lot of good pieces. I don't really see him being a great fantasy quarterback in the first 2 years that he's there. And he's a little bit undersized. He's like 6'3", 215. So if they let him get hit for the first couple of years, like they let Sam Darnold get hit, he might not last long in the league. Like, this is a guy who he had a lot of time to throw this year, and he looked great when he had the time to throw. He was flinging it all over the field. But if you're not going to provide him with that opportunity, he might not be as good as he appeared to be last year. And yeah, I'm a little bit worried for Zach Wilson. But Luke, it's your turn to talk about some winners and losers for this trade.
Time to shine.
Yeah, for sure. Let's dive into these comments real quick before we do that, though. So Kevin just commented, Do we think that this makes the Panthers tight end fantasy relevant by Sam Darnold landing in Carolina?
Who
So it'd
is
be
the
Ian
Panthers
Thomas.
tight end? Ian Thomas?
Ian Thomas.
Dan Arnold and Ian Thomas, yeah.
Dan Arnold's in Carolina, is he not? Not Carolina, Arizona.
He signed with the Panthers.
Oh, did he get traded?
Oh, he did. He signed with
Yeah.
the Panthers? My bad. So yeah, I guess it would be Dan Arnold and Ian Thomas, or one of the two.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that though. I mean, I'm sure they'll be fantasy relevant. I don't know if they'll be fantasy superstars. I feel like they'll probably be around the tight ends 15 to 11-ish range. I think they'll be like streaming, like for redraft purposes. They'll probably be on the waiver wire. They'll be like streamable weekly tight ends, I guess. I mean, I don't really think they'll be starting tight ends for your roster for every week. Every once in a while, they might get a good matchup if they start to boom. I think Ian Thomas has a higher ceiling than Arnold, but we'll see. What do you guys think about that?
I'm not in on either of those guys. They're bums.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's fair.
I agree with you on Ian Thomas. I think he's a higher upside pick than Dan Arnold. And I definitely don't see Dan Arnold doing much. He's the tight end too, in my opinion, in that system. And I don't think that Sam Darnold even makes the tight ends there any better. Oh gosh, his name is escaping me right now. But who was the Jets tight end that was supposed to be really good for like 3 straight years?
Chris Herndon.
Thank you. Yes, and that never happened. So I wouldn't put my hopes on the Carolina Panthers tight ends for my fantasy relevance.
Then we have one more comment here from Scott's Dots. I like the name. Darnold went 703 after the trade and the startup draft right now. Too early. If it's a super flex, absolutely not. If it's a one QB, yeah, that's way too early. I assume it's super flex though, because I feel like you wouldn't be drafting a quarterback that early in a 1 QB that deep. Yeah, okay, it's a super flex confirmed. Yeah, I think that's a great value at the 7.3 to get a starting quarterback who has like high end QB2 upside next season, even QB1 if everything goes perfect. I like it a lot for you. I think that's a good draft spot.
I don't hate it. Yeah,
I agree. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, as long as he was your QB2 or QB3, you're chilling. I don't assume he was your QB1. So, all right, on to my winners and losers from the trade. So, up first, I think a winner for me is Robbie Anderson. We saw Robbie Anderson kind of connect to Teddy Bridgewater there for a little bit last season in Carolina. They had a pretty decent rapport. He started off the season pretty hot, and he looked like he might have been like in the Stefan Diggs territory of like what happened last year with the guy like everyone didn't really care for very much coming like with his new destination and all that. And then he just kind of like broke out big time. He really tapered off on the back end of the season, like the last 8 games or so. He was really inconsistent. But I think having Sam Darnold come in, who apparently they have a good friendship according to people on Twitter, it should be good for them. I mean, I think that Robbie Anderson's a very talented real-life wide receiver, and apparently if they're friends, I mean, he should be getting some targets and stuff, and hopefully provide some more consistency for the team. One thing that was interesting in Carolina last year compared to his time in New York is that he was getting a lot more downfield targets in New York. So I feel like we can see Robbie make some more splash plays this year, which could be nice, really good for best ball, stuff like that. It should be interesting to see what happens there. And then for a loser for me, I didn't really think about it too much. So I mean, an obvious loser is Teddy Bridgewater, but like I'll skip over that and say like there's not really a big loser here as far as fantasy value goes. I mean, the Jets, I feel like we all expected them to draft a quarterback anyway, so that was kind of expected. And then for Sam Darnold, it's an obvious bump up for him. And then I feel like it's a bump up for all the Carolina Panthers weapons. So really, there's only like one dude that gets hurt by the fantasy value. And like, it's not that big of a deal because he'll probably get traded somewhere else anyway. So for me, I'm saying there's not really a big loser. I think it's a pretty good deal all around for fantasy value. But yeah, Angel, why don't you get into your winners and losers here?
Sure. So for my winner, I'm going to go a little unorthodox and say Matt Rule. I think he gets a quarterback that fits the system a lot better than Teddy Bridgewater did, with a lot more potential. And it should make the entire offense better. Even Christian McCaffrey, I think he might get some more end zone carries now because of Sam Darnold. I do think that Sam Darnold is better than Teddy Bridgewater, clearly. And so do the Panthers, given they gave up a lot to get him. And I think Matt Rule is going to really bring out the best in Sam Darnold. In terms of losers, you just said it, Luke. There's not that many losers, really. I mean, Robbie Anderson. Quick note on Robbie Anderson. He played in the slot 26.5% of the snaps last season. And I would expect that with Curtis Samuel gone, that'll increase. And Sam Darnold really likes targeting his slot receiver. Shout out Jamison Crowder, my man.
Legend
In the PPR leagues. So I really think that'll increase Robbie Anderson's value a lot. Not only will he have more splash plays, but also just more consistent targets. So just quick side note on that. But Teddy Bridgewater, man, guy cannot catch a break. Like, I feel so bad for him. He's gone through so much in his career, and he's never really played that bad. He's never like had an actually like, oh, what an awful season. This guy's a bum. He just always is slightly below average, like slightly, and he always loses his job like so quickly. I don't know. I feel bad for him. I hope he ends up on the Saints. I think he could be really good there, but I'll talk about that in a bit.
Oof.
Speaking of, you guys are gonna like this transition. There's been a lot of trade rumors floating around the NFL lately, so why don't we talk about some of them? Starting with Teddy Bridgewater. I already spoiled it. I think that the ideal landing spot for him is New Orleans. He's already been there. He's been successful in New Orleans. I believe he went 5-0 or 4-0.
Something like that.
I think he won the game where he came in, but as a starter, he went 4-0. I know that Sean Payton really likes him. There's been talk that he is interested in trading for him. Now, they do have an investment in Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill. You know, that 4-year, $156 million investment in Taysom Hill. I'm kidding. I know that's not a real deal. But they can definitely make the money work if they want Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe by trading Winston back as a backup to the Panthers. I don't know. But I think the fit is good. I think the interest is probably mutual. Jameis doesn't need any more competition, Kevin says. I agree, but he might get it anyways. So I just really hope Teddy Bridgewater gets another chance, hopefully in New Orleans. How about you guys?
Yeah, so for me, I think Teddy Bridgewater is in an interesting spot. I think the QB carousel in the NFL right now is like all the chairs are pretty full. As far as like you're playing like musical chairs, like there's not a lot of chairs available. Like, who's the most QB needy team in the NFL right now?
Denver, probably.
The Broncos.
Denver?
Yeah.
I know, but like, why would they sign Teddy Bridgewater? They can trade up and draft one. You know, like
Right.
there's not really a lot of situations in the league that I can think of that really needs a guy like Teddy Bridgewater. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens with him. I don't know if there's a willing team to go out and trade for him. It's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens, because even if they do trade for him, I think it's going to be interesting to see, one, what they can get for him in return, and then two, like who, it's like in general, just like who wants him, because his contract isn't that cheap.
Right.
Kevin's throwing out the Bears or Washington. Washington's the only one I think can make sense, but they already have Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think if you're looking for a bridge quarterback, I feel like Fitzpatrick's like more entertaining than, I don't know, the Bridgewater. Like if you're looking for a guy to just kind of like hold it down for a little while, I feel like that makes the most sense. But I don't know. And then the Bears already have Andy Dalton and Nick Foles. I don't think they really need another guy like Teddy Bridgewater. I feel like that's three just like meh quarterbacks at once, and I really don't think
I would love to see that. That'd be so funny.
That'd be gross.
That'd be hilarious.
It would be hilarious. You're right. It would be really funny. I just don't know if it's gonna happen. Is the thing. I really just don't know where he's gonna go. Seriously, I think if I had to pick a team right now that it's gonna go for him, I don't know. I really don't. I think the Saints do make sense because they're familiar with Teddy, and I think they like Teddy a lot. But I don't want him to go there because I feel like I want Jameis Winston to be the starter there. I feel like that'd be better. But we'll see. I really don't know. Like what teams could use him? Like Denver, like you said, Alex. But I feel like I think they're willing to give Drew Lock another shot or just draft a guy. Like I don't think they're really looking to bring in like a bridge quarterback like Bridgewater. Maybe Houston if the whole Watson thing just completely goes down the drain, because they don't really have. I mean, they have Tyrod Taylor, but like, I don't know. It's Tyrod Taylor, you know. What do you guys think about Bridgewater? Like, where do you think he could go, if anywhere?
Yeah, I think the complicated issue with Teddy Bridgewater is like, what is the value of having Teddy Bridgewater on your team at this point? Because he's not going to raise the ceiling of your team if you're not a contender.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a contender, you should not be trading for a quarterback at this point in the season because like you should have that figured out if you have any intention of competing. So it's really tough because it's like, first of all, what compensation do you get back for Teddy Bridgewater at this point? You could, I mean, if Darnold is worth a second, a fourth, and a sixth, is Bridgewater worth like a fourth, a fifth? I don't know. Like, and who's willing to give that
I'd
up?
say a fourth at most.
Right. And the thing, like, it's the spots are drying up, and there is a lot of places like Washington, Chicago they brought in their bridge quarterbacks. They don't need two of those. And I mean, New Orleans is wishful thinking, but they spent a lot of money to get the Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston back. Those are their guys. Like they like both of them and they want to see them duke it out. I don't think they want to complicate that even more than it already is. And it's also rumored that they're in on Kyle Trask too, which would just be like if they had 4 quarterbacks like competing for one spot, that would be just a disaster.
Gross. Just gross.
So I mean, what I think is going to happen is it's going to be a long, drawn-out process for Teddy Bridgewater to get off of the Panthers. I think they're going to sit on him until they get a deal that actually makes it worth their while because, I mean, they're not going to spend any more money this offseason. So it's like he's not really eating too much into money that they could be using elsewhere at this point. And I think they'll sit on him. And if a team ends up like, if their quarterback situation goes down the tube, maybe they'll get desperate and trade for Bridgewater to try to redeem like the season. Like I think that's the only thing that really makes sense to me. Like if a team's quarterback goes down in the first few weeks and they're like, oh, like we want to salvage this, let's trade for Teddy. Like sure, why not? That's my prediction.
I just thought of one more spot real quick before we throw it over to Angel. I think that the Eagles could be interesting as much as I love Jalen Hurts. They value the QB position so much. I mean, they have Joe Flacco and Jalen Hurts right now, which is, I mean, Flacco's, he's solid. I mean, you know what you get when you put the elite quarterback out there in Joe Flacco. But I feel like Teddy Bridgewater could be interesting for them if they really want to like add a insurance plan to Jalen Hurts in case he like really comes in and sucks it up next season. Have Teddy Bridgewater to turn to. That might be interesting. Scott Stotts says, if not for the contract, I'd like to have Teddy backing up Dak. I agree, just because, I mean, it'd be nice to have behind Dak. I mean, we saw him go down this year. Obviously, we don't want to see that again. But if he did for some reason, it'd be nice to have some insurance. Angel, what do you see about Teddy Bridgewater as far as like any possible destinations or trade value or anything like that?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to keep it brief. The Saints would be my preferred destination.
Mm-hmm.
But like Alex said, it's mostly wishful thinking. The cap situation isn't tenable. And as much as I would like to see it, Winston's probably going to get that shot. I mean, Drew Brees literally handed off the franchise to him in his last game. This is your franchise now, Jameis. It was very emotional. But moving on, why don't we talk a little bit about Jimmy Garoppolo and his possible landing spots? Personally, I'm going to be a little bit boring on this one. I don't see any possible way that he's traded. I don't see any reason why the San Francisco 49ers would want him to be traded this season. I think their ideal setup right now is, okay, let's compete one more year with Jimmy G. Let's show apparently Mac Jones, which I still can't wrap my head around. That's wild. What it takes to be a winning quarterback in this league. And let's give him the reins next year. Very similar to what the Chiefs did with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes. Doubt Mac Jones will be Patrick Mahomes, but I guess that's what San Francisco's hoping for. But what about you guys? What do you think?
Yeah, so for Jimmy Garoppolo, I think what you said makes a lot of sense, Angel. I think that they're gonna likely draft a rookie quarterback. Well, they're drafting a quarterback at 3. We know this. You don't spend 3 first-round draft picks in capital to trade up for like a lineman or something. It's not gonna happen. They keep saying that Jimmy's their guy for this season, and I do kind of believe him. I think they're gonna draft a rookie, do the classic rookie veteran dance where like the rookie comes in like week 9 or 10 or like sits out the entire first season, stuff like that, and then we see the transition. I think it's a lot more likely that Jimmy gets traded at like the deadline this year or next season during the off season or something like that. His contract is just worth a lot of money, and I don't know if any teams are going to be willing to buy into that. So it's going to be interesting to see if he goes anywhere at all. If he does get traded, it'd be for very cheap, and I feel like it'd be kind of a salary cap dump for the 49ers, if anything.
Yeah, I think the guy we talked about previously, Teddy Bridgewater, really complicates the Jimmy Garoppolo trade market because Bridgewater and Garoppolo kind of offer the same sort of ceiling. I think Garoppolo's a little bit better. I mean, he did bring his team to the Super Bowl, but to be fair, that team was perfectly catered to a quarterback who didn't have to throw the ball. Like what did he have? Like 80 passing yards against the Packers in the NFC Championship. Like,
yeah, he just dinks and dunks all the way around. Raheem Mostert carried that team in the playoffs that year. It was all Mostert in the defense.
Exactly. So, I mean, I feel like Bridgewater, if you put him on that team, you could have got a similar result. And for a team, like at this point, who could really be in the market to pick up Jimmy Garoppolo in a trade? You got to think like the Patriots because of that previous association. And you got to think like Denver because Drew Lock could be an absolute dumpster fire. And maybe they just get desperate. But if with Teddy Bridgewater now on the market, it's like you can get a similar player for a much lower price for less money. And it's like at that point, what becomes the incentive for the 49ers to trade Garoppolo? Because if they're trading him for what they see as below his value, there's like, why not just hang on to him for another year and just roll with your guy, regardless of who you take at number 3? Like, I think if they take Mac Jones at number 3, he's one of the more NFL ready quarterbacks in this class. So he can come in and start and be fine. But if you really just want to run with Jimmy to begin, like, why not do it? You already have him under contract. Like, it's the same thing with the Panthers and Bridgewater. Like, it's money that's already been like allocated to a player. It's not going to go anywhere else at this point. So might as well just roll with the guy until you feel like it's a good trade.
I'm not much of a fan of the whole Mac Jones at 3 thing because, like you said, Alex, like Mac Jones is already one of the most NFL-ready quarterbacks in the draft. I think if you have a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo who's solid enough to roll out there as a starter next season, I think I would rather have them obviously draft Justin Fields. But if they're gonna reach on a dude, I would rather have them go get Trey Lance because I feel like Kyle Shanahan would be suited a lot better to try to work the raw tools and like the running ability that Trey Lance brings to the table. But Mac Jones is definitely really interesting for them. It's gonna be quite entertaining to see what they figure out with that whole situation. So, all right, up next for the next trade talk, we have the guy who can't stay out of the news these days. We got Deshaun Watson. I personally, I'll keep this short. I don't think he's going to get traded at all. I think it's likely that he won't play at all this season anywhere. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, we won't talk about his case or anything at this point because there's not anything you can really say about it that hasn't already been said. So whatever happens with that, like maybe he'll play, maybe he won't. He seems to still, regardless of what happens, doesn't want to play for the Texans. So we might not see him. And I think seeing the Sam Darnold trade shows that teams are moving on from pursuing Deshaun Watson because the Panthers were one of the teams that were supposedly the front runner to land him. And they said, no, we don't want anything to do with that anymore. We're going to trade for Sam Darnold instead. So I think that can pretty much put those trade rumors to rest. I mean, unless the Dolphins are like, oh, nah, we're actually, we want you. We don't like Tua. We want Watson. Like, unless that happens, I don't see him being traded. What do you think, Angel?
Yeah, I think the only team that could trade for him at this point would be the Dolphins, and I don't see any reason why they would want to. They're building the sort of infrastructure that makes it very likely that Tua will be able to succeed with that offense. Kevin just said that he'd rather Lance than Fields or Jones. Wow, than Fields. Interesting.
He doesn't like Fields apparently, though.
Yeah, right. He's Ohio Stater.
Ohio Stater.
Nice, Angel.
Pat yourself on the back.
I can't believe I said that.
Angel
But
really
Deshaun Watson doing it. I should trademark that. Gosh. Anyways, Deshaun Watson to Denver would be the only other possible scenario besides the Dolphins. But like you guys said, who wants to touch him right now? I mean, his trade value probably is lower than ever, but I think that teams have just moved on. It's been an entire offseason of trying to get him. And at this point, there's a lot of other stuff going around him that you don't want any part of if you're a good organization. Mm-hmm. So let the Texans deal with it for now. Move on, get your other quarterbacks. And it seems like that's exactly what most teams have done, with the exception of, again,
real quick, we have some breaking news actually that just released. It's not that huge, but Giovanni Bernard was just released by the Bengals.
Oh, no!
End of an era.
Kind of sad. End of an era.
Giovanni.
Weird timing that they waited this long.
Yeah, he just got cut. They're paying him $6 million a year, so I don't really blame him.
Yeah.
I don't blame it, but
I've been waiting a
Gio
few years for
Bernard.
this.
Yeah,
What did you say, Alex?
I said I've been waiting a few years for Gio Bernard to get released. This guy's been a thorn in my side when I have Joe Mixon on my teams.
for real. Well, I think this might point to them drafting a mid-round running back now.
Yeah, they can draft Demetric Felton or one of those guys.
Ugh. Kevin, you don't want Giovanni Bernard as a Jets fan. Why would you want him?
Yeah.
Gross.
Well,
I mean, he'd be better than Michael Perrine.
would he?
Yeah.
Would he though?
I don't think so.
They got Tevin
You don't
Cole.
think so?
Tevin
Yeah,
Coleman's
I think.
good.
Yeah, I think they're gonna draft somebody, but I mean, Tevin Coleman and P. Ryan will be all right.
I mean, I love Bernard. I don't know why. I had him like the 1 year that he was fantasy relevant, like as a starter. And I think I just fell in love with him because of that year. Because I got him like really late. He wasn't supposed to be anything. And then he saved my season. And Kevin said that's why they liked washed up running backs. True, but they like expensive washed up running backs.
That's true.
Exactly.
And Bernard's not expensive, so doesn't fit the mold. Good breaking news there. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. But all right, why don't we talk a little bit about the next guy on our trade talk, Zach Ertz. Now, this is a really interesting one because the Eagles have basically told Zach Ertz that he is eligible or allowed to go and seek out a trade. So I think that's what they're working on right now. So the question would be, which teams are interested in a tight end at this point of the offseason? Obviously, the Patriots are now going to the 3 tight end formation and are going to be making calls about him.
Don't rule him out. Don't rule him out. We can have a Jonnu, Hunter Henry, Zach Ertz 3-head monster.
No.
Oh God, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see that.
Please no.
But at this point, Zach Ertz is an aging tight end. I'm not saying he's not good anymore, but he's definitely past his peak. So I'm curious to see where you guys think he might end up this offseason. Alex, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Zach Ertz is a prime candidate to get traded at the draft. I think that's exactly when people are going to be like, okay, now we know what our tight end situation is. Because there's a lot of good tight ends in this draft, and I think there's a lot of people who are like, I'm going to wait this one out and see who we can get. But if a team like the Colts love tight ends, and if they go to the draft and they're like, oh, we would much rather have like Pat Freiermuth or Brevin Jordan, and they end up just not it doesn't work out for them and they can't get one of those guys, they'll be like, okay, fine, you can have our 4th round pick for Zach Ertz or something. Like, I think we need to see how it shakes out, because at this point, what is Zach Ertz like? What are you getting out of Zach Ertz at this point in his career? Because last year he was bad.
I think you're getting a high floor, lower ceiling tight end who can do some good things for your team, but he's not going to be a world record anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he'll be a solid dude. Like, I feel like what kind of team could use a guy like Zach Ertz right now? Like the Bengals, maybe? I don't know. Like, who needs a tight end?
I feel like the Colts are a good one because the Colts
Yeah.
have Wentz and like that's his boy Frank Reich. Like just run it back. Like just run the 2017 Eagles. Just do the whole thing. Get Trey Burton. Oh, he's still there. Trey Burton's there.
That's
really
perfect. Oh my God, make it happen. We can get Wentz, Zach Ertz, and Trey Burton again. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Time to be alive.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of my 2 cents. I'll keep it short, but I don't really know where he's gonna go. The Colts would be nice. I don't really think there's any teams that like desperately need a tight end like terribly. The Colts kind of do, but we'll see. Andrew, what about you?
Jack Doyle too. Don't forget about him.
Dang it, Alex.
Kevin says Bengals, the Jets, the Chargers, New Orleans. Chargers, yeah, they do. New Orleans definitely does need somebody. The Jets, I mean, they have Herndon. I mean, Herndon, he's pretty meh.
Stop trying to make that happen. Here's a PA, a public announcement to anyone trying to make Chris Herndon happen. It's not going to happen. We gave it our best shot. I was in it for the first 2 years. I was out of it this season. Let's just move on. As a fantasy community, let's move on from him. There are other tight end prospects that will break our hearts this year. All right? That's my PA.
Scott, no offense to the Texans, but they could use every position on offense.
Yeah. We don't talk about the Texans on here. They're too far
Texans
down.
are gross now. They're gross, man.
But okay, just to wrap it up on Zach Ertz, I think Jacksonville would make sense if Tony Khan, my man Tony Khan, TK, wanted to give Trevor Lawrence some Oh, AEW. I watch all Elite Wrestling, and Tony Khan is the owner of it, so he's my boy. We're
Oh,
friends. We're
I was like,
homies.
TK, what are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I love AEW. So Tony Khan, my man. If you're listening, have us on the show. Bring us aboard. But yeah, Jacksonville maybe because they need a reliable tight end for their generational QB prospect, Trevor Lawrence. But we talked about Stackers. Let's talk about another aging player that's still very good, but might not have much of a market right now, Stefan Gilmore. Now, Stefan Gilmore's a really interesting case because he's still an elite player right now. At least he was last season. Not as good as he was when he was Defensive Player of the Year, but still very, very solid. Besides the one game when he got burnt by Devontae Parker. That was annoying. Sucks. Here's what I think. I think much like Zach Ertz, if he's going to be traded, it's going to be in a draft day package for the number 4 overall pick with the Falcons. At which point we get my man Justin Fields. We roll it back with the dynasty, get 6 more championships. It'll be a good time. But I do think Stefan Gilmore will be traded as part of that package. It just makes sense. The Falcons need every position available on defense at this point, besides maybe strong safety. So yeah, that's what I think. Falcons. What about you guys?
I didn't know are there a lot of rumors around Stefan Gilmore being traded? I mean, you guys are 2 Patriots fans. I didn't really know there was smoke there. I mean, Stefan Gilmore is a elite lockdown CB1. Yeah,
that would solve a lot of problems.
Cornerback. Corner and quarter, they're similar pronunciation. But anyway, I think he could fetch at least 2 first-round picks on the open market, in my opinion. I don't know how much you would have to throw in with Stefan Gilmore to get to number 4. I think you'd still have to give the 15 plus Gilmore to get number 4. That seems like too much to me. I don't know.
For the 4?
I wouldn't trade Gilmore in 15 for number 4 personally. I feel like that's way too much. Gilmore is really good. I don't know. I didn't really even know there were rumors about him. I mean, every team can really use a guy like Stefan Gilmore. I think a good landing spot for him could be oh man, the Dolphins would be nice. They could have Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, and Stephon Gilmore. It'd be kind of fire.
Not happening.
Not happening. It'd be nice. It'd be nice. I'd like it. You guys would hate it, but I'd like that.
They wouldn't make that deal. No way.
The Jets maybe, but I don't think they're in the position to spend up for somebody.
The Jets.
Why are we trading with the AFC East? We don't do that. Nobody's going to do that.
You're right. Let's see here. There's a lot of teams. I won't ponder too much. Maybe like the Broncos, the Raiders, teams like that who really need some secondary help, some Falcons, stuff like that. Local radio keeps talking about a Gallup/Gilmore trade. That actually might be a pretty good deal. I mean, obviously it wouldn't be a 1-for-1 swap, but if it was like Gallup and a first for Gilmore, I wouldn't hate that if I were the Patriots.
I think you're overvaluing Gilmore a bit.
Yeah, I don't think I am. He won Defensive Player of the Year 2 years ago.
Yeah, but
he's a top 5 corner in the NFL.
All I'll say is this. He is a top 5 corner, but he's also aging. His contract is really, really big. The Patriots have a ton of really elite cornerbacks at this point. I don't know how this happened, but our cornerback situation is ridiculously good at this point. Definitely a Gallup and Gilmore trade. It might be like Gallup in the 4th for Gilmore. They wouldn't give Gallup in the 1st.
No, dude, I would hate that if I was the Patriots.
I would hate it too, but maybe not because I'm a Michael Gallup truther. I like that guy. He's pretty solid. Anyways, sorry to cut you off, but continue.
He's only 30. He's not that old.
That's old for a corner. When you have to chase around guys for a living, you don't want a guy that's over 30.
That's fair. But he's still really good. I don't know. I feel like you could get at least, at the bare minimum, a mid to early second for him.
Yeah.
Minimum draft pick, yeah.
I would like a first.
Luke, I think you might be overvaluing how he played last year too, because his PFF grade dropped from 90 to 60. He was actually not very good last year.
Really?
If you look at he was struggling a little bit in coverage and stuff. And I mean that the Patriots defense last year as a whole was kind of worse because the pass rush sucked, but there were signs that he is deteriorating a little bit. It got a little bit worrisome, and that's why they even made him available, I think, because it was
you know what, that's fair. I mean, I can't really, I can't deny that very much. All right, up next, our next little point of discussion here, we have the Atlanta Falcons first-round draft pick, the number 4 overall pick. I think this has to get moved on draft night. Patriots, we get the Patriots hype from the 2 Patriots fans on the show today.
Yes.
Dude, I don't know if they're gonna make the move. I think if any team should make the move and really spend up and go get them, it's the Broncos. That's my opinion. But we'll see. Dude, imagine how much John Elway likes a guy like Trey Lance.
Oh man,
John Elway is drooling watching Trey Lance throw a football. You kidding? I don't know. We'll see. I think the Broncos are in a better position than the Patriots are to move up because they have a higher first-round draft pick. But I don't know. It's going to be pretty like if they swap spots right now. I mean, a lot of mock drafts have like a guy like Caleb Fairley or Patrick Surtain going to the Denver Broncos at number 9, I believe. And if they swap spots with the Falcons, the Broncos get a quarterback, and then the Falcons can get a nice corner. So I don't really have a problem with that at all. Kevin apparently is a big Trey Lance fan. I honestly don't love Trey Lance that much. Quick tangent, I guess. Trey Lance, he's a really good prospect. I think he has an amazing ceiling. He kind of reminds me of like a Josh Allen-ish kind of prospect. Like he's very raw and has like a lot of really good tools. But the thing that concerns me a lot about Trey Lance is in his offense, he was either running or he was making a first read pass. And he was playing against D2 competition, NAIA. And like, I don't know. I mean, we saw Carson Wentz succeed, at least a little, in the NFL after coming out of D2. But he was a lot more NFL ready as a player, in my opinion, as far as his skill set and like being able to like make reads and throw the ball. But Trey Lance is a lot more of a running quarterback. So I don't know. I think he has to land in the right spot. And I don't know if Denver would be that, but I like Trey Lance. But anyway, back to the Falcons. I think the teams that should be interested in making phone calls are Washington, the Patriots, the Bears. Who am I missing? The Broncos, I just said. Teams like that, I think you're going to be looking at a couple future firsts and like a second, depending on like where teams are at. I mean, I think the Eagles and the Dolphins trades and stuff like that were pretty good examples, and the 49ers trades were pretty good examples of like the price tag you're going to need to make to jump up. It's pretty expensive. But I mean, it's worth it if you're getting a franchise quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. If I had to pick one team I think that's going to jump up, though, I think it's going to be the Denver Broncos. What do you guys think?
I don't get this Broncos moving up for a quarterback.
Why?
Thing. Because they like Drew Lock. They've come out and said, you can say he sucks, but they like him. They have like come out several times and been like, this is our guy. We like this guy. Like, I don't understand why everybody thinks, no, they're going to give up on him. He didn't even get to play with Cortland Sutton last year. He was throwing to 2 rookies, a second-year tight end, another rookie tight end. Like, he did not have a chance to play that well. Like, there was never going to be a world where without Cortland Sutton, Drew Lock was going to be a good player. It was just not going to happen. And, like, they were better than they should have been last year, considering what happened. Their whole team got decimated by injuries. Like, yeah, they beat the Patriots last year. They beat a few like tough teams, and like the
Patriots were 7-9, Alex.
Yeah, the Patriots were 7-9. They were like our second loss of the year. We were still a good team when they beat us. But I don't know. I just don't think that they're gonna, for the chance to get a guy like Trey Lance or Mac Jones or whatever, whoever's there at 4. I don't think they're gonna mail it in on Drew Lock because from everything that they've said about Drew Lock, they seem to like him. I think he deserves one more year too. And if you want to see Drew Lock succeed, you want to draft something that's going to help him rather than draft something that's going to knock him out of his spot. So I could see them like addressing the offensive line or addressing the defense, like whatever. I just don't see why they would move up for Atlanta's pick, because the thing that benefits them having Drew Lock on a cheap rookie contract is that they can use money next offseason to continue to build a contender if they can develop him. Like, why would you pivot off of that for maybe a slightly better prospect when you believe in a guy and you like him and you like his skill set? Like, why not continue to like work with him instead of just like punting at that opportunity?
I don't know, man. I'm looking at his stats right now. He was really bad last year. He had a 16 to 15 touchdown interception ratio, 2,900 passing yards, 57% completion percentage, which is pretty low. His QBR and all those kind of like quarterback like rating metrics were down from his rookie season. I don't know. I don't think he played very well last year. I mean, like you said, he didn't have Cortland Sutton and like his best weapons, which is obviously a fair point. I just don't think he's that good. I think the thing that concerns me with Drew Lock the most is like I feel like he has a great arm. Like we all know that Drew Lock can sling it and he has good weapons. I just think he makes poor decisions.
Yeah, but you could say that about a lot of good quarterbacks. Josh Allen made some really terrible decisions in his first 2 years, and now he's an MVP candidate. Like it can be fixed.
No, that's fair. I mean,
you give him a support system.
I'm not on team get rid of Drew Lock immediately, but like if they were drafting a lot later, it's fine. I just think that the hole is sizable enough, in my opinion, as like the quarterback of the future. That if you can trade up for a guy like Justin Fields or Trey Lance or Mac Jones and give them a shot to see how good.
Oh
no!
Died. That's not good.
Lost Luke. That's unfortunate.
The Denver Broncos gods said goodbye, Luke. Sorry.
I just unadded myself from the stream. What's happening? What the hell's going on here? Anyway,
they said no more Drew Lock slander, and they kicked you.
Denver Broncos just kicked me out from the stream. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't know I was doing a show with Drew Lock apologists. First of all, second of all,
the reason why I'm rooting for Alex on this one is because I'm in 2 super flex leagues, and in both of those leagues I have Drew Lock.
That's your own fault.
So yeah, I need him. I need him to work out. So
that's your own fault.
Amen, Alex. Amen.
Dude, they have amazing weapons. Is the thing. Like, I just don't know if Drew Lock's the guy that can unlock them all.
He hasn't given a chance to unlock them. He's played 1 game with Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Give him a break.
It's fine. That's fine.
Daniel Jones has a starting job in this league. Why shouldn't Drew Lock? They're the same
Daniel
guy.
Jones is better than Drew Lock, in my opinion, for sure.
Is he?
Yes.
Are we sure about that?
He is.
All right. Well, we were talking about Atlanta's first round pick. We need to get back on track here.
Wasn't someone else talking about Atlanta's first round pick? While I look up Daniel Jones' stats compared to Drew Lock's.
Oh, good. Oh, good God.
I'm just gonna let me get this Atlanta. I need to get off of this Atlanta pick. I want the Patriots to move up for it. Okay, Angel, now you go. That's what I want.
Move up for it. Okay, we're done. Now we can talk about Daniel Jones and Drew Lock.
Excellent. Yeah, Daniel Jones sucks too, apparently. So never mind. They both suck.
Exactly.
Yeah, they've both been pretty bad.
Hot take. They both are bad.
Yeah, that's a very hot take. You might get roasted for that one.
No, I don't think so. I think the only person on fantasy Twitter that likes Daniel Jones is Steffi Smalls. She's the only one. No one really likes Daniel Jones. I've seen some Drew Lock apologists floating around. I strongly believe though that if Daniel Jones and or Drew Lock don't get the job done next season, they should absolutely be moved on from.
That's definitely fair. 3 years. You need 3 years for a quarterback. Not 2, not 1, 3. 3 years.
I feel like QBs like Mahomes and Watson just spoiled people.
Exactly.
Like, now people can't wait. They think that every QB is going to turn out to be Trubisky.
There's no patience. It doesn't exist.
Sometimes the truth lies in the middle. We can't all be Dak Prescott and come in as a 4th round pick and tear the world up.
All you need to do is look at Josh Allen's progression from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. That's all you need to do to say, okay, 3 years. That's what you need. That's the sample size you need before you can give up on a guy. He made huge leaps. I don't even like Josh Allen that much. I'm revved up right now.
He's revved up. Just real quick, I was thinking about this a second ago. Is James Conner ever going to sign?
Oh, crap.
He's going back to the Steelers. I told you. I called
him.
out.
I don't want him. I don't want him back.
He'll be back. He's coming back.
We don't need him. We already have, as gross as it is, we already have Kalen Ballage, Benny Snell, and Anthony McFarland. Those are 3 meh running backs. We don't need another meh running back. We need to draft a good one.
I mean, those are meh running backs, but Connor's like a meh running back. It's a little bit more
above meh running back.
You know, like a few more ease with a higher pitch. So maybe that's what they're looking for. Maybe they're looking for a meh running back.
No, if you're looking for a good one, like Najee Harris.
Boys,
I think that's wishful thinking at this point.
Boys, we got another 1st round pick to talk about.
Do we?
Oh yeah, Detroit.
Yes.
I don't think they're going to trade. I don't.
They want to trade. I don't know if anybody's going to want to move up for it. It depends on what happens with Atlanta. Like they're kind of like the contingency plan. If Atlanta's just like, we're going to take Kyle Pitts or somebody. Like if Atlanta's just like, nah, Detroit is the next best. They're like the Bridgewater to the Garoppolo in this situation.
Yeah, I think Detroit should draft a guy like Mekhi Parsons or like Devontae Smith or something like that, who's on the board. Just get like the best player available, honestly, or like
They need
Slater.
a receiver real bad. Please,
Receiver would be
Detroit.
nice. Smith would be great. Chase won't be there probably. Kevin said he's still holding Anthony McFarland. If there is a guy to hold in the Steelers' backfield of the running back, it's McFarland. I'm still not excited about it, but if you are to stash a guy, it's him. Benny Snell. I said it before. I'll say it again. If you can trade Benny Snell for a half-eaten ham sandwich, do it. That man is worth nothing going forward, just for the record.
Very fair. To wrap up our thoughts on Detroit, I also don't think that, and it's an awkward situation for them because they're really, really bad.
Yeah.
Like really bad. Sorry, Detroit beastie. But nobody wants their pick because the first 4 picks are going to be quarterbacks. Like in every possible scenario, that's what's going to happen, which is wild to think about. So I think they stay there. I think they'll probably draft Devontae Smith, which they should because they desperately need a wide receiver. But Jared Goff and Devontae Smith might be a pretty good fantasy connection. I would like to see it.
I would too.
But why don't we go ahead and talk a little bit briefly, because we have a couple more things to do here, about David Njoku. I forgot he was still a thing, to be honest.
Trade him for a bag of Cheetos to a team that needs tight ends, and I'll be interested.
I guess David Njoku will never be on our show because we're all very...
No, David Njoku is a cool dude, but for fantasy football, will he ever be relevant? Maybe.
He needs to be traded. Please trade him if he's going to do anything.
Jacksonville?
Yeah, I like Jacksonville. That's
Jacksonville
a
would
good
be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin, I agree. He's a good stash still, but we'll see if he actually goes anywhere. I feel so bad for him though. Like a couple years ago, he was a starting tight end and he was playing pretty solid. And then all of a sudden, Austin Hooper comes to town, and then they draft Harrison Bryant, and he's just like buried. Like that really sucks. Same with OJ Howard. Free OJ Howard.
Free everybody.
Hashtag free OJ Howard.
Free OJ Howard. I'm tweeting that right now. Hashtag free OJ Howard.
Alex completely sold OJ Howard on me in a trade like 2 years ago where I gave him my entire team for Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb, OJ Howard, and Jarvis Landry. And only 2 of those players worked out for me.
That's tough, dude.
Random story. Alex, the master dealer.
You're really jumping the gun on story time, but okay.
Oh, that's
Fine,
not
Angel.
my story.
Well, now it is. You don't get a story now.
Way to go, Angel. You lost your story time privilege.
Look what you did.
The only reason why I haven't left is because I really want to tell stories, so now I'm kind of bummed out.
Right.
Oh, well.
All right. We want to bring it home with a tackle, an exciting fantasy football.
I was looking at the show dog. I was like, why is there an offensive lineman on here?
And we got Stefan Gilmore. We got to have, Orlando Brown from the Ravens allegedly wants a trade. I didn't even look into why he wants a trade. I think it's a contract thing. You know?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I did my research.
Okay.
It's really freaking weird to me, at least. But he really wants to play left tackle.
Oh,
like that's the entire reason why he's requesting a trade. He wants to play left tackle. And I was reading an article on it, and his wording was just so deep and emotional. He was like, "It's just more spiritual for me to play left tackle." And I was like, "Yeah, like it's more what?"
But yeah, sounds mentally unstable to me.
It's more spiritual for him to play left tackle. So I don't know. I guess his dad wanted him to play left tackle as well. Yeah. So it's kind of like an honor and a father type of deal.
Interesting.
But that definitely was a little, when he said spiritual, I was like, what is going on here? You're okay, sure.
Right.
And that's why he requested a trade.
Yeah.
Weird. Why don't the Ravens just move him over then?
Because they have Stanley.
Yeah.
One of the highest paid left tackles.
Why don't they just switch spots? Why don't they just do a little bit of a swap ski?
They're paying $25 million to Ronnie Stanley. They can't. They literally couldn't.
Just do a bit of a swap ski.
You can't justify moving a left tackle to right tackle. The value of that just goes right down the drain.
Listen, just do a little bit of a swap ski. Everything will be all right.
They can't do it. It can't be done.
Why not?
The system will crumble if they do that. They can't do it. They got to trade Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown has to go. That's the only solution. They got to trade him.
Get him out.
But where is he going to go? Huh?
That's a good question.
Literally every team in the NFL needs a good tackle. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
The world is his oyster.
I feel like the Chargers are always a team that could use a tackle. Why not send them there?
Ugh.
The Chargers are a team that need nothing yet everything at the same time for some reason.
Do they have the Bitcoin guy playing left tackle still, or is he gone?
I'm not sure.
I feel like he was on. I don't know. I think Okung's still there.
Or wait, no, they traded him to Carolina last season for a guard, and then they didn't re-sign the guard.
I don't know where he is. I don't know if they need a tackle. Actually, they signed Matt Filer from the Steelers, and he played left guard last season, but he played right tackle for them for a couple of years, so he can play tackle.
Sounds like an absolute stud for the left tackle spot. That's a guy I want to invest in.
Oh yeah,
a guard playing tackle from the Steelers.
Oh yeah, do that. Do it. Speaking of investing, there's a website called predictionstrike.com. You guys should go check out. We have a promo code. It's 3CO. Head on over there. You can invest in your favorite athletes, like stocks that go up or down based on fantasy performance and real life trading based on the users on the website. It's super sick. Go to www.predictionstrike.com and use promo code 3CO for 50% back on your initial deposit up to, I believe, $50, something like that. And you'll figure it out. Anyway, time for our last and best segment of the day, story time. Angel, I'm going to let you take this one first, even though you lost story time privileges.
Yes. Oh, I'm so happy about it. Well, let me introduce how many people got watching? Is Kevin still here?
Yeah, we got Kevin here. I know Kevin.
Kevin, you were the first one here, so you get the special intro. You see that beautiful tub of red right behind me?
Yes.
That is crystal. Named because it is full of crystal light. She's been my baby since I bought her in January, and it's been a beautiful marriage. It's been full of hydration for me, and I will never, ever forget Crystal for everything she's done for me. But I got a new baby now. Oh, yeah. Look at this bad boy. Look at this. A gallon. Oh, shoulder pressing it. A gallon of water. It is. I'm really bad at drinking water, so I'm just trying to make it easier for myself. But look at this bad boy. It's even got little motivational quotes. It says, "Good morning. At 9 a.m., I'm supposed to hydrate myself.
You're not doing a good job.
I got to remember my goal." It's a beautiful thing, and I'm quite in love with it.
That's a thick boy.
Yeah, thick boy. Look at him. I still got to name him, though. So what do you guys think?
You can name him Tubby.
Oh, that's perfect. Tubby. It's Tubby.
I like it. Yeah. How'd you guys think about the solo layout for story time? It's your time. It's your time in the spotlight.
I like it. I like it. It's good stuff.
Alex, you have the floor.
My story? Oh god, it's just me in here. I'm gonna tell my story. Stop laughing, please. You're making me self-conscious. I guess I'll tell a fantasy football story. So this is a very brief one. I got an offer this morning. I woke up to, saw a sleeper notification. It's like, so-and-so has proposed a trade to you in this league. And I was like, a trade? I like trades. I went to look at it, and I looked at the trade. And I looked at the trade for a few seconds more. And I realized this guy was trying to trade me Ryan Fitzpatrick for a 2022 first. I don't know. Who sends that trade? You're an asshole if you send that. Like, it put me in a bad mood for the rest of the day. Like, it's terrible. I hate that.
No, I agree. I like the way you formatted that story time, Alex. It was just nothing but pain. We appreciate
it. It's pretty painful, to be fair. Like, imagine the excitement of waking up to a trade. Like, oh, what exciting new offers there for me today. Will I accept it? Will I decline? Who knows? And then you see Ryan Fitzpatrick for a 2022 first.
Yeah, there's a slight silver lining, though, because I got sent another trade from our good friend Billy Musio from the Fantasy Football Fanalists in a different league. And this trade made me a little bit more excited. I didn't accept it yet. I'm still thinking about it, but at least I salvaged my my trade jujus, whatever the fuck you want to call that.
No, we were so close.
It's okay. It's okay. Kevin won't tell anybody that I said the F word.
It's okay.
But yeah, okay. I mean, I'm whatever. I'm ready to
whatever.
You take it away. What was the trade? I can't. If Billy hears this, he's gonna know. what the trade is, and then I can't be leaking to the media these trade rumors. I don't want to be like that.
That's
I don't want to
fair.
have loose lips.
Yeah, we don't want leaks. Schefter and Rappaport will get a hold of it. All right, time for my story time. Everyone get off the screen.
Okay, bye.
All right. Really intense story. Yesterday I went to an NBA game. I went to the Bulls Pacers game in Indianapolis. It was a good time. I took pictures in an alley. It was scary. That's it.
Oh.
Thank you. Oh, other story time. Get off the screen again. This morning, I had to wake up at 8 a.m. and walk all the way across campus to spit in a tube and walk back because of COVID testing. It's the dumbest thing ever. Well, it's good because we're getting COVID tested all the time to make sure everyone's healthy, but it sucks. Like, I literally have to walk like 25 minutes across campus to go walk into a room, hand this lady my student ID, walk behind a door. A doctor hands me a tube. I spit in the tube. I hand it to the doctor and I leave. And that's it.
Sounds like
It's the strangest process ever. It's really so weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
Another clap. Yeah. Oh, I should have just edited it in the claps. I can still do that.
Okay.
Ready, Luke? You hear it? They're clapping for you.
Sounds good.
I know.
Thank you, audience.
I might
Kevin
not even
asked, is that how they're doing it in schools? Yeah, that's how they're doing it in my school, at least. You get sent an email, and then they're like, you've been selected to participate in COVID testing, and then you have to schedule it within like 2 days of them sending you the email, and then you have to go, and then you spit in a tube, and then you leave. It's great.
Good stuff. Good stories.
Yep.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, that's it for today's episode of the Three Coast Sports Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or any other platform like Spotify, please drop us a follow and turn on notifications for new episodes. Please leave us a written review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. It helps grow a lot. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you were in the chat like Kevin today, live on Twitter, thank you so much for watching. We're also live on my YouTube and on Twitch. So head over and check those out for next time. It's over on Twitter and all the other platforms I just mentioned. So we will see you next week for another episode. And the draft is right around the corner, guys. Should be really exciting. Kevin, I love you. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.